Well, hi there! So I think I might have upset some of you guys recently with my video where I talked about the upcoming intergalactic game. I don't know, I'm just assuming that since my subscriber count took a nosedive after I uploaded that video. In case you didn't watch it and you're somehow seeing this video first, well, I mean, you're probably not gonna know what's going on, but hey, feel free to watch the videos in any order you want. I'm not your mother. The gist of it was I gave my take on the game's trailer and some people did not care for it. Which, you know, hey, that's fine. I don't really expect you all to agree. It's just my opinions after all. In fact, some of you really disagreed.
You have gone too far!
That's nothing new for this channel, but I do think it got a little out of hand though. Some of you guys were writing comments that were longer than the actual video was. A few people were even arguing with me about things I never even said in the video. Speaking of comments, I feel compelled to show you this one just because it made me laugh. Ladies, is it gay to not want to play as an ogre for 25 hours?
You make me sick!
That's why I figured I would just make a response video just to clarify my points further, especially since I started thinking of some other points that I forgot to mention in my original video. I've never made a response video before, but I've also never made a trailer review video either, so today is the day for trying new things. Believe in your dreams, kids. Now, I usually tend to be more reserved when giving my hot takes on games, since my videos really aren't about me reviewing the games, they're just about me suffering for your amusement. But obviously, I was a bit more blunt in my trailer review video because I was reviewing the trailer, and I wasn't gonna lie or sugarcoat my opinions, that's just how I feel.
It's just how I feel inside.
Was I exaggerating a bit? Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of just how I am, so. The game and the main character look lame, and I feel like the story is probably gonna suck. Not unlike how The Last of Us 2's story sucks. It's not like I ever hid my opinions about games I don't like until now. This is how I opened the first Last of Us gaming challenge video I ever made. The Last of Us Part 2, one of the worst video games I have ever played. It has some of the most boring, slow-paced dialogue ever put to screen, and is possibly one of the worst examples of a revenge story. But despite that, the gameplay is still pretty fun. I think people probably just tend to forget about that since I can get so sarcastic in my videos that some people can't even tell when I'm being serious. But I really just don't enjoy games that focus too heavily on story and cutscenes with obnoxious main characters. Unless the story and the characters are really, really well written, it's just not for me. That's not to say that I hate all story-focused games and I have to completely 100% agree with everything in the game in order to like it. But if everything is cringe and awful, I'm just gonna have a bad time. It's as simple as that. Here's a good example. I made a video where I played the very narrative-focused game called Indica. Now, I personally don't like the main character Indica, and generally I disagree with the message of the story. However, I still enjoyed the game. The reason for that is because 1, Indica wasn't rude or pushy. She questioned things about her world and her faith, but not in a dismissive way. She was polite and kind to others, even if she didn't like or agree with them. And 2, the story left room for debate and conversation. Not in the way that Neil Druckmann likes to do it, where he just pushes one side into having been correct from the start, but in a way where you can see both perspectives of the main characters sincerely. Sure, the game is leaning more towards one view over another, but it certainly doesn't talk down to you. At least that's the way I found it to be. But I just can't see Jordan, the slurpy sipping space ninja, having that level of complexity in her character. What I see when I look at her is a rude, brash person whose personality is probably going to be insufferable for the entire game. I don't know guys, call me crazy, but I'm getting major Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League vibes from this trailer. Think about it. A company that has a wide fan base, who is generally known for making serious, well-paced games, comes out with a cinematic trailer where you have sassy people making quips and trying to be all relatable. A company that is perfectly comfortable spitting in the face of what came before it, and a company that most people kinda hate now. Sound familiar? I see this game as being a disaster for many, many reasons. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the game will pull through and be really, really cool, but I just don't have any faith in Naughty Dog anymore. They lied in The Last of Us 2's trailers, they canceled the multiplayer after leading gamers on for years, and now they're pulling this crap. I just have a bad feeling, guys. It is not looking good. Now let's go over the thing that caused the most amount of discourse in my comment section. The way Jordan looks. I just don't like it. I don't like the hair, I don't like the clothes, and I definitely don't like the random tattoos all over the place. If you're gonna do tattoos, they have to have flow. You can't just slap them all over the place like they're stickers. It looks stupid. Like I said in my original video, I think that the actress looks perfectly fine. She's a very attractive woman. I just don't understand why Naughty Dog tries to make her look worse. All of these studios are doing that now. They're taking these very pretty face models and warping their faces and changing them in some way to make them unattractive, and in some cases, completely unrecognizable. I just don't get it. What did the ladies do? Now, to be fair, Naughty Dog didn't change the actress's face too much, but there's definitely this weird uncanny valley look to it where it just doesn't seem quite right. I feel like they shifted her features slightly and it just looks a bit off, but I mean, what do I know? My take on why they do this is because for some reason people see femininity as being weak, and it's not like this is a political statement or anything. You see people express this view on both sides of the aisle, each in their own unique and awful ways, and I'm just sick of it. There's nothing weak about women or being feminine. Women don't have to act or be molded to look like men in order to be strong. Sure, we have our own unique quirks, but we're certainly not weak. Nowadays, I feel like it's either macho man lady or stripper lady. There's very little in between. And it wasn't always that way. What happened to characters like MJ from the first Spider-Man game? You know, before they messed up her face. Or Chloe and Elena from Uncharted. Or Zelda! All of these characters sit in a nice middle ground, and they are all very strong people. But I think that these devs are just so brainwashed into thinking that being girly is stupid and frivolous, they just see no point in it. What's worse, they have no respect for it. Now, I'm not gonna pretend to be Barbie or anything. I've been a tomboy my whole life, but I'm certainly pretty girly in my own right. I'm just tired of every female character looking, dressing, and acting exactly the same. It's the same character in a different skin over and over and over again, and it's not even a good character. Jordan's appearance is dumb. Maybe they'll explain it narratively, but it really doesn't matter to me. Video game characters need to be visually interesting and appealing because they are in a visual medium, and this, it's just not it. You can call me vain if you want, but I just miss the days when most video game characters were hot. I like to play as people who are more beautiful than I could ever be. It's not a self-deprecating thing, I just find it more fun that way. Most people do. That's why people are rejecting character designs like this. I will admit though, it does sound a bit hypocritical of me to say in my last video that I wasn't bothered by over-sexualized characters in video games, yet I don't like the way Jordan looks. For a good portion of that video, I definitely made it seem like what makes an ugly character is all about appearance, when that's not really what I meant. Part of what makes Jordan ugly is the way she presents herself. I might be beating a dead horse at this point, but like I mentioned in my original video, her personality is terrible. She ignores good advice from the eye patch lady, she's brash, and the face she makes while slurping her smoothie, it's just so slappable. If you're an obnoxious person on the inside, it reflects on the outside. That's part of the reason why most female protagonists now are ugly. More than anything, it is that reason. For example, I don't think Dina from The Last of Us 2 is ugly. I find her very pretty. And there's a reason for that. She's a likable character who is sympathetic and not a jerk 24/7. Now, I might not like The Last of Us 2, but I can like Dina, you know, when she's not getting in my way in combat sections. It's also kind of like what I was talking about in my first video with Mel. Are these women the most gorgeous people on the planet? No, not necessarily, but it doesn't matter because their personalities and souls are attractive. On just a physical level, Dina is no more attractive than Jordan, and yet, with all of The Last of Us 2's problems and complaints, you really don't find that many about Dina. I just think it's something to consider. Some people said that the developers are doing this to female characters to make them more realistic, and I disagree with that for a few reasons. One being that I tend to consider the average Joe Schmo on the street to be much more attractive than some of you guys might be giving them credit for. I very rarely see a person and think they are ugly or unpleasant looking. In fact, it's pretty much a non-existent thought that comes into my head. You guys look great. Don't be so hard on yourselves. I'm talking to you, Kelly. You're doing great. You too, Carl. The other reason I disagree with this statement is because if the goal is to make video game characters look more realistic, then why aren't they doing this to the men? You basically only see this happening to women's face models. Meanwhile, you got supermodel Steve over here getting absolutely nothing changed. It's just plain unfair. Ultimately, it is not about making people more relatable or realistic looking. I don't even really know what it's about anymore. I have my theories, but I don't think any of us are gonna find out the real reason. Ultimately, all I know for sure is that I just don't like it. It's why I don't buy a lot of modern games now. That and the price tag. It's getting a little ridiculous, guys. I'm not Elon Musk, you know, I don't have all the money in the world, but that's just my general take on it. Anyway, that's it for me talking about the trailer. I don't really have much else to say on it. I'm pretty sure I covered all the big points of contention anyway. At the end of the day, all I'm asking for is a likable, attractive protagonist who I can sympathize with. They don't need to look like the common man to be relatable, they just need to be engaging. Like I said, I'm still not really sure if I'm gonna get this game. It's kind of too early to make that call since we don't even know what the gameplay looks like. Gameplay is king after all, Neil. It's certainly the only saving grace for The Last of Us 2. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and any of the ensuing drama still going on in the last one. I think I'm just gonna go back to playing video games now. It's a lot more fun. And if you feel that you have to unsubscribe from my channel because you disagree with my based opinions, that's fine. I get it. I'm not that clingy. I promise I won't hold it against you. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Fingers crossed at least. Bye-bye.